Good morning, Dory. Just letting you know I can see you in here and hoping we get some more attendees here. We'll get started about 10:30 and roll from there. You can put it in the chat if you have any questions or comments. We'll get started here in about a couple minutes. All right, good morning, guys. How we doing? Welcome to this KW Consumer App training. My name is Marty Miller. I am your South Texas Regional Technology Trainer, here to talk to you about the KW Consumer App. So I'm going to spend about an hour and a half together talking to you about the app, both as a consumer, and then we'll talk about it from the agent point of view as well. Just a little bit about me. So I've been with Keller Williams for 6+ years now. Started off as a single agent. Excuse me, moved into a team role where I was a buyer's agent, moved up to become a listing agent, then worked as the vice president of expansion when we opened our second office, became the vice president of sales over the entire sales team, and then ultimately the president of that team when my mega stepped out 7th level. Did that for about 4.5 years. So great experience, top 15 team in Houston during that time. Then I got to pursue an opportunity to kind of follow my passion for coaching, training, and teaching as a productivity coach. I worked with Randy Olive on the north side there at the Platinum office in Cyprus. Lance and Karina Loken are OPs, so that was a fantastic experience. And then first of the year, got to join all of you as your RTT or regional tech trainer. So super excited to be meeting with all of you. Would love to be meeting with you in person. Obviously, I haven't met a lot of you since you're there at the new office. But we'll make that happen for Q3. Today, we're going to do a Zoom webinar. So for those of you that have never been on a Zoom webinar, a little bit of housekeeping real quick. First of all, your cameras are automatically turned off. There is no way to actually have those turned back on. So you don't have to worry about what's happening in the background. You know, if you did makeup, great, thanks, we appreciate it. If you didn't, that's okay, can't see you either way. Gentlemen, if your hair is all crazy like mine is, you know, then it's all good. Yeah, we can't see your cameras. You're also muted by default. So you are muted by default. If you do want to have a conversation with me and you want to talk, you can actually look down here at the bottom of the screen. You're going to see several buttons. One of them is raise hand. If you raise your hand, I'll see that on my screen, and then I can unmute you. You can unmute yourself. We can have a conversation from there. In addition, at the bottom, you're going to see a button that says chat. So if you click on chat, you can actually type in the chat. That's where if you have questions, I can come back to getting those answered. Several times I'll ask you for feedback, and you can put your answers there in the chat as well. Dory, I have added you as a panelist, meaning a co-presenter, so you have the ability to unmute yourself. Hopefully you're willing to play along with me today. I have a few questions, a few things that we're going to do as we walk through the app. I know I didn't prep you for that, but is that okay, Dory?
Of course, and but I will probably stay muted most of the time. We have a lot of background noise in this office, so I don't want to interrupt or overpower anything.
I'll give you a heads up. I'll say, hey, Dory, got a question coming for you, and then you can prepare to unmute yourself. And if we get some background noise, that's okay too. We'll make it happen.
Sounds great.
Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First things first, let me go ahead and share with you my phone so you can see what the app actually looks like if you have not downloaded it previously. And if you have not, that's going to be homework item number 1, is go to the App Store and actually download the KW Realty app. It's going to look like this. You can see it in the top corner of the screen there. It's a white background with red letters that says KW. Okay, so homework item number 1, go to your Google Play or your iPhone or Apple App Store, download the app, okay? Dory, heads up, question coming for you. What sort of app is this?
It's a consumer app.
Wait a minute, Dory, I'm a KW agent. Why am I on a training right now if it's a consumer app?
We want the consumers, we need to feel comfortable with it so the consumers will feel comfortable with
100%.
it.
100%. Guys, a lot of the questions that I've received about this app are based upon your assumption that it can do things for agents. The reality is this is a consumer app built for consumers, right? And so therefore, it does not have a lot of the functions that you may want it to have. Now, we are working on an agent-based app that'll be Command Mobile. No release date yet there, but I really want to start the first half of this class with you taking your agent hat off, put your consumer hat back on, and let's talk about the app from the consumer's point of view. Several reasons I want to do that. First of all, the majority of your consumers are already using a real estate app. It might be HAR, it might be Zillow, it might be Redfin, it might be one you've never heard of, but the reality is that they most likely have some sort of real estate app already on their phone. Our goal is to get them off of that app and onto the KW consumer app. So as we walk through this first half of the class as a consumer, I want you to learn the features that the app has so that then when they say, well, I've already got an app, you can say, cool, does your app do this? Does your app do that? When you partner with me, we can do the following things together on the app and kind of talk about the features that the consumer app has so we can get them onto your KW consumer app. So when we first log in, so a couple of things. When you go for the first time and download the app, if you have not previously downloaded it, you will be asked to create an account. The KW consumer app does not know, nor does it really care that you're a KW agent because it is a consumer app for consumers and you can use it as a consumer just as anyone else can. However, you're going to need to register for an account just like they would as well, okay? So we'll ask you for an email and a password, your name, you're gonna have to register the first time. Once you get onto the app, you're gonna see a button in the bottom right corner that says More. I want you guys to click on that button, More, in the bottom right corner. If you have downloaded a branded app, meaning that you followed your own link, your text code, and you downloaded a branded version of the app, yours will look like mine, except it'll have your headshot, your name, your license number. If you downloaded one that was not attached to you, yours is going to look like this. It's actually going to say, find a Keller Williams agent. I'm going to show you at the second half of the course how you can send out or post or publish your actual branded app link so that when people follow that link, they're downloading a version that's already branded to you. However, sometimes even when you do that, consumers will just go straight to the App Store and download it without following your link. And therefore, they're going to get a version that looks like this, right? So the first thing they're going to have to do, the first thing you're going to have to do if you have an unbranded app is click on Find an Agent. When you click there, you can see that if I already know my agent's name, I can actually type it in. If I don't know my agent's name, I can search for a specific location. So I can just be real broad and say I'm looking to buy a house in Houston, Texas, right? So you can see cities down below. Houston, Texas pops up. And now I'm going to get a list of all the agents, right, that are servicing the Houston area. And you can start seeing here's a long list of agents. You're going to be in here somewhere. Now, let me ask you a question. If we were on this screen right here, which of these two agents, now what you don't know is all 6 of these agents are amazing agents, right? And yet, which 2 of these agents would you most likely, as a consumer, want to do business with? You can throw it in the chat. Again, remember, bottom of your screen, click on chat. All right, so Monica says the one with the photos. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, right? There you go. Amanda B saying the same thing. Yes. So if you guys have not gone in and gone to KW Command, clicked on settings, and then KW Connect marketing profile, you want to do that, right? So go through the marketing profile, make sure that you've uploaded your headshot, you put in your bio, you put in information about your team, right? All of that stuff. You want to completely fill out the bio in KW Command. And then you also want to go to kwconnect.com, and there's a bio there, a profile, excuse me, that you'll fill out there as well. So you want to make sure that the two basically replicate one another, okay? There are information pieces that are pulled from Connect and some are pulled from Command. By filling out both, you ensure that your information is completely filled out. Once you decide that you want to brand this app to you, you're just going to search for your name. Then you'll find yourself. You'll click on your name, and then you'll get to see what your profile looks like. So again, we want to make sure you've got a professional headshot. If you're on a team, your team should be listed there. If you have a team, there should be a team logo, right? You got the address of your market center, your website, if you have any specialties or designations, email, and then of course your full bio. Once you've pulled up any agent as a consumer and you decide this is the agent I want to work with, you can actually click on Get in Touch at the very bottom. And then you can click on Confirm. You'll see it says this will designate Marty Miller as your new agent. If I click on Confirm, it's going to give me a success screen saying, yep, Marty is now your agent. They will help you find a home or sell a home. You can contact them through the app, okay? So that is the process of making sure. Now you can see when I click on the More button, I'm back to being branded, meaning that my profile, my name, my license number is at the very top there, okay? That's the process that the consumer will need to take if for any reason they have a version of the app that is not branded to you. I always say trust and verify, right? So if they say, yep, I got your app, cool. Do me a favor, click on the More button in the bottom right. Do you see my headshot? And if they see it, then they're like, okay, great, I know you have the branded version. If they say, no, it says find an agent, then you'll need to walk them through the process that we just walked through so you can make sure that their app is branded to you. Okay, so it's the first thing is making sure you guys, 1, download a copy of it, and then 2, actually get it branded to you so that you know the process to train your consumers as well. So now we're going to go down to the bottom left-hand corner. We're going to click on that magnifying glass. We're going to start learning how to search for properties. Dory, I got a question for you. Within the last year or so, have you taken any vacations within the U.S.? And if so, what did you do? Where'd you travel? Where'd you go see?
Well, actually, we go to Austin a lot, which I know isn't that far, but that's where we head.
That works. Where in Austin? What did you go see in Austin?
We actually end up in the north side. It's not even Austin. It's called Lago Vista. It's a small little town.
Cool.
Off of Lake Travis.
Okay. So you go to Lake Travis to kind of, it sounds like you maybe spend some time on the water down there or something along those lines?
We do.
So do you know the address of Lake Travis?
So I can give you a specific address.
That's okay. I don't know the address either, but I'm just going to type in Lake Travis and click on search. Is that Lake Travis, Dory?
That is Lake Travis.
Awesome. Now, let me say you got to go outside of Texas. Where would you go? Vacation this year, got to go outside of Texas. What would you do? What would you go see?
Maybe Florida.
Okay. What would you do in Florida?
We'd probably go see that mouse over there.
Ah, so Disney World? Do you know the address of Disney World?
I don't.
I don't either. Do you want to know if there's any houses available for sale around it?
That'd be great.
Type in Disney World. There we go. Epcot Drive. Now I can just zoom out a little bit. I can start to see, well, there's a property for you, Dory. It's only 2.71 million. Right on it, right?
Yeah, that's in my budget, sure.
Yeah, what if we've done Florida multiple times and we want to go to Disneyland this time? Well, there's Disneyland Drive. Looks like there's a house for sale right outside. What about, let's say, I don't know, not to get too political, but maybe you want to see if there's houses for sale around the White House. What about the Statue of Liberty? You guys picking up on this yet?
It's great. Not too many apps. Can you just put in a...
Yeah, you don't even need the address, the city, or the state. My background is high-end restaurant management. I worked for Perry Steakhouse and Papa's Brothers Steakhouse. We used to go to Napa pretty regularly, and I love Silver Oak Winery. Maybe one day I'll get to live near Silver Oak Winery. Here are the houses available for sale. I start to look at them and realize why I don't live near Silver Oak Winery. And yet, all 6 or 7 of those examples that we just gave, Dory, did I have a single address?
No single address.
A city or a state?
No.
Nope, right? So not once did I put in an address, a city, or a state. However, you can see at the bottom left of this screen, guys, our app partners with Google. So when your consumer starts typing something in the top of that box, Google says, what is the most likely, right, address associated with this search term, and then take the app to that location. So now, I'll be honest with you, there might be a small little boutique winery in Texas called Silver Oak Winery. I'm sure they would get hit with, copyright infringements at some point. And if I wanted to find Silver Oak Winery in Texas, of course, it's not going to take me there because the Silver Oak in Napa is that much more popular. However, is most likely, right? So I had someone yesterday, I was teaching the class, and they're like, I'd like to live near the Grand Canyon maybe one day. And so you type in Grand Canyon, boom, there's your Grand Canyon. So it is using the Google search terms basically to, it's a massive national park there, to search for that location. So that's one thing that most apps that they have on their phone do not do. If they say, I would like to live near this, right? And you can start getting real granular too. You could put in like, Dory, what are some good restaurants on Lake Travis? Do you know any that are there on the water?
Well, over on our side, there's not a whole lot. Trying to think of something that's right there.
Let's just see. Is there a Chewy's?
There's a Chewy's.
Chewy's. And now I'm going to put in the city because, who doesn't want to live near the Chewy's? And we are now in Austin. I can almost guarantee you, if you guys go and do a Google search for Chewy's Lake Travis, that would be the location right there.
So actually, I just thought of one that's actually on the water. It's called the Gnarly Gar. It starts with a G, G-N.
The Gnarly Gar.
And I don't know, well, probably only one R, but there it is. That's where it's located, right in there.
Did we put in a city or a state? We didn't even put a street address. We just literally searched for the Gnarly Gar, and boom, it took us right into Lake Travis, right? So you can see there's the big lake, and zoomed in, right in. So if I've got 1.7, I can just live right down the road from the Gnarly Gar there. So again, when you guys are selling this app, and sometimes you're going to have to sell it, right? Because the consumer's like, oh, I'm good, I've got blah, blah, blah. Okay, great, go do a search for any of these search terms in that app, and they're not going to have the ability to search by landmark like they can in the consumer app. So that's number one. Dory, let's talk about neighborhoods. Any popular neighborhoods there in your area, or neighborhoods that you know about in the Houston area that are really popular?
Well, obviously some of the higher end ones are like River Oaks.
Okay, so let me type in River Oaks. All right, I'm gonna click on search. All right, so now that took us to Virginia, but let's do River Oaks. And then we'll put in Houston. Oops, probably help if I spell that right there, huh? Okay, is that the River Oaks area?
It is.
All right, so now what happens, guys, is we can start to zoom out, and you're gonna start to see blue borders start to show up here. Okay, these are based upon the next door neighborhoods that are gonna start to show up. For example, I can tell you right out here in Katy, Cinco Ranch is really popular. So I can click Cinco Ranch, get taken in, there's Cinco Ranch, it shows up, and then I can start to zoom in and I'm gonna start to get blue boundaries. Do you see those blue boundaries that are showing up? Those are different neighborhoods, obviously all in and around, in this case it was Cinco Ranch. So if you wanted to know more about any of these neighborhoods, all you would need to do would be to actually click on the neighborhood name. As soon as I do that, I can get information about the current stats. I can get information about what locals are saying about the neighborhood. A lot of times that's based upon the tracking of purchases happening in the neighborhood. Like they can track your debit card, your credit card, your loyalty card, right? Anytime you're shopping with a loyalty card somewhere, they're tracking those purchases as well. Commute times, I'm going to show you how to add a place when we start looking at a specific listing. You can see the nearby schools for the actual neighborhood that you have selected and their scores, which is always nice. A lot of times people say, well, how good are the schools there in whatever neighborhood you're discussing? And I might think they're okay because they're 85%, but if this person's coming from a neighborhood that had 65%, 85% is an amazing score for them, right? So we no longer have to be the source of the information, we can be the source of the source. Hey, if you download my app, any neighborhood or any specific listing that you're looking at will tell you the public schools that are zoned to that neighborhood or that actual property listing, or it'll also show you nearby private schools if you prefer to put your children in a private school. I can click on see more and actually see there's 3 just in Cinco Greenway Village. I can also look at places. So here's the other cool thing. Our app has a connection with Google that we've talked about. Our app has a connection with Nextdoor, which is providing these neighborhood boundaries. Our app also has a connection with Yelp. So as you see on the screen, I can start to scroll up, and within just that neighborhood, you can see there's a lot of restaurants, and I can scroll to the left and see all the restaurants and those ratings, right? There's also a farmer's market. There is, let's see. So you can see grocery, that's the farmer's market. If I click on the yellow one, whoops. Well, you see if I click on one, it actually takes me into Yelp and shows me about the farmer's market. If I click off of that, I can actually click on the yellow one there and see Black Walnut. So you can see like the consumer can get a lot more information about what's happening. There's a gym, you can see there's Orange Theory. Then if I scroll down a little bit further in this neighborhood, I can see the homes that are active for sale in that neighborhood as well. All right, so that's searching by actual neighborhood. Now we can also search for just a standard house search, right? Most people are saying, hey, I want to search for a home for sale. Let's go back to River Oaks. And let's search for, so you can see the blue boundaries there showing up. Let's say that I am looking for a house that's going to be somewhere between, I don't know, let's do 800. Oops, I got fat fingers. So I'm basically just clicking on these little white dots, and you can see as I move them to the right or left, my price criteria. So I'm gonna do 8 to 1.5. Okay, I'll click on done. Let's click on bedrooms. I didn't tell you guys I'm happily married. We have twin 5-year-old daughters, and then little Lily May will be due August 19th. So I've got 3 daughters. I'm gonna need at least 4 bedrooms, right? Property type, I would love a single family home because we actually have 2 dogs, so we'd love some sort of small yard. I can click on more, and then I'm going to get additional filters that start to show up as well. Now the consumer app can be used for properties that are listed for sale as well as properties that are leased or listed for lease. So if I click on listing type for sale, you can see if I scroll down, there's different statuses that I can search for. And then underneath that status box, there's also the for rent button. So if I click on for rent, then I'm going to start seeing properties that are listed for lease as compared to those that are listed for sale. You can see if you scroll down, there's additional features. I can actually click on bathrooms. 3 daughters means at least 3 bathrooms. And then you can go through and see the additional filters there. I'm going to go ahead and click on done. Oops, my price didn't set. Let me do that again. 800 to 1.2. Oops. There we go. All right, 1.25, close enough. So you can see, based upon the criteria that I put in on this actual screen, don't have a whole lot of choices, right? I got about 3 different choices, but I can drag the map around, and you can see each time I drag the map, I'm getting into different locations, right? So let's say I want to live near Memorial Park. I actually want to be in this little section here. So I clicked on the finger that said draw, and watch, I can actually say I want to be south, but I want to be north of this street, and then around San Felipe, and then, okay, cool, this is the area I want to search in. So the little pencil, it's not a pencil, it's a finger, right? You can see the little pointer finger there. You can see how it's now black because I clicked on it and traced a natural location. So you may have certain people that say, hey, I want to be, you know, in this area or this section or this segment or near this park or this church or whatever it may be. They can actually draw on the map the area that they're looking to search for, and then it'll only show them listings, right? You can see I can drag the map around now, and it's not showing me any other listings because it's only going to show me the listings that A, match my criteria, and B, are in my search area. Now that took a lot of time, right? It took me time to put in the price and the bedrooms and the bathrooms and single family and draw my area. If I want to continue to use this same set of filters every time I search for a house on the app, I can click on Save, which is at the top right. And then I can actually create a named search so that I can come back to this in the future. So I'm just going to put Memorial Homes and click on Save. You'll see I get an icon that says, yep, that's been saved, cool deal. So now at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see there is a heart icon. It's the 4th one over. It says saved. And if I click on it, you're going to see that I now have a recent saved search at the bottom of the screen. So if for any reason I was in the map and I had cleared my filters and I was just looking around and maybe I want to live out here, and maybe I want to live over here, and then I decide, no, I really like that area that I was looking at originally, I can come back to saved, recent saved searches, and boom, it takes me right back to that search criteria that I set up before in the past. Okay, so that's how you can save a search. Let's look at this house, 975. Let's take a look at it. So once I click on the house, you'll see at the bottom half of the screen starts to pull up the actual listing. I can actually hold down on the photo and drag it up, and then I'm going to start getting all of the information for the property. So I can see it's listed at $975,000. There are 7 photos listed. I can swipe left to start to see all of the property photos. Hard for me to believe that this is a $1 million house and it has 7 photos. So then you can see how many bedrooms, bathrooms, and square footage the property has. There's white space between the price and the address. If this property has had a recent price decrease, you would see a little squiggly line, and then it would tell you, right, 25,000, 50,000, 10,000, whatever that price decrease has been. So this one obviously has not had a recent price decrease. Underneath the address, you're going to get a bar there with 3 options. You've got save, hide, and share. If I want to save this property to easily access it later in the future, I would just click on save, and it would say, great, do you want to save it to one of your existing collections, or do you want to create a new collection? So I could actually create a collection, and I could just say Memorial Area Homes, and then click on the dot next to that collection. You see I get a check mark, and then click on save. Okay, now you can see the heart has lit up. If I click the arrow that's pointing down just below the time in the top left-hand corner, I'll get back to my map. I'll drag that one down. You can see it now has a heart next to it. And in addition, if I click on saved at the very bottom one more time, I now have recent collections at the top. You can see there's the collection that I created for Memorial Area Homes. And if I click on it, any properties that I have added as saved will all show up here within this search. I can even add notes that will help me kind of remember, why did I save that one? Oh, that's right, it had the nice backyard, or oh, it had the amazing pool, or oh, that's the one that has the amazing island kitchen that my wife loves, or whatever it may be, just so I can kind of jog my memory as to why I saved that as a favorite. Okay, so that's how you can save a search or actually save properties. Now, if I found another property that I liked, I could continue to add them to that collection, and I can have a variety of collections. You saw how many I had just from teaching this class multiple times. So they could have collections of properties that they're looking to buy now. Ironically, Dory, my 10 to 15 year plan, right, is I would love to be on Lake Travis myself. I want to be on the water, boat slip with the boat, right? Like you can even see it's part of my vision board right here, right? There's the boat I want to buy. So I have that ability to say, hey, that's my collection that I want to start looking at properties in Lake Travis, just kind of wishing, hoping, dreaming, planning 10 to 15 years from now, what would it look like, right? So that's how you can create collections, and you could create a multitude of them. And it could be something, maybe I'm not even looking to buy, I'm just looking to do a remodel of the interior of my home, but I want to start looking at homes that are for sale in the area. And the ones that are going for a premium have obviously already been remodeled. Let me start saving those homes to a collection called remodel. And that way, when it's time to meet with my contractor and my designer, I can say, hey, here are some homes that I really like what they did. Let me show you some pictures. And they can pull up their collection and start showing you all the homes that they've been saving. It's kind of like Pinterest, right? I don't use Pinterest, but I've told you can create the different boards and save things to them. Very similar. It just kind of creates collections for them. It might be investment properties, right? My wife and I own an investment property in Brenham. I have a collection set up for Brenham. I have a saved search there and a collection, just because we might actually buy some additional property there, because right now, Brenham's coming up, right? Just a heads up, if you guys are looking for investment properties, the property values there are rising pretty quick. We're pretty excited about the one that we got, and we are looking for more. So they could create that sort anywhere. And again, remember guys, this is not a Houston area app. That's another selling point when they're saying, well, I've got HAR, great. Do you ever travel anywhere outside of Houston? You can't search for property outside of Houston using the HAR app. The KW Consumer app is a national app, which includes both the US and Canada, okay? So Monica asked about hiding a property. Let's go in and say, you know what? I have fallen out of love with this property. It's no longer one I want to save. So I can click on save again, and then I can actually uncheck it and save it. It's going to remove it from my collection. And now I said, you know what? I'm sick of seeing this property. I know it's not going to work for me. I want to hide it from the map. I can click on hide, and you'll see the eye kind of goes red. It's like a bloodshot. And now when I go back to the map, drag down, you can see it's lightly grayed out to start. As soon as I move away from that search and I come back, it's going to tell me there's no results found because there was only one and you hit it. So that way it's no longer going to show up, right? How many people do you know that look for properties in an area and it's like, it's the same 6 homes. I've already looked at all of these. None of them are a match. I wish they would go away. Perfect. This is how they can do it. Actually hide those properties. I don't want to see them anymore. They're not a good fit. Now, if for any reason they're like, oh crap, I didn't realize it was going to go away for good, they can click on more in the top right-hand corner, go back to that listings filter, and scroll all the way to the bottom, and you'll see show hidden listings. I can click on show hidden listings and then done in the top right, and you'll see then it pops back up as grayed out. I can then click on the listing again, and if I want to unhide it, I would just click on hide one more time, and now you'll see that property will show back up on the map. Next, you can click on share. That's going to easily send this property to anyone via text or any other kind of communication app you have on your phone, whether that's mail, Facebook, you know, I've got Slack, Discord, Facebook Messenger, etc. So you can easily share that. Just so you know, it shares a web link, meaning that when the other person that receives that text, email, Facebook message, whatever, clicks on it, it's going to take them to an actual individual landing page for that particular property. So the person they're sharing with it does not have to have the app. The person they're sharing with it won't be prompted to download the app. It's basically just like, very similar if HAR, if you've ever shared a property in HAR, right? My wife sends me properties pretty regularly and I can just click on it. It pulls up an independent page for that property. Very similar setup. So they do not have to have the app in order to share, to receive a shared property, if you will. Next, you can see 2 embedded buttons for Keller Mortgage and Keller Covered. A really nice opportunity there. Obviously, we want to be talking to our clients about the opportunity to work with Keller Mortgage and Keller Covered to save money on both the purchase of their home or have the buyer of their home save money. I don't know how often it happens to you, but sometimes I've had a situation where as the listing agent, we just can't get together on repairs. The buyer just needs to have these things done because they need the funds or whatever, or maybe it's an appraisal or a lending-based issue. I've done it twice now where I've told a buyer's agent, hey, because I'm Keller Williams agent, your buyer can actually use Keller Mortgage. They're going to get a $1,000 credit at closing, which they could use for some of these repairs that my seller won't do. They're also not going to have an origination fee as well. So they're probably going to save more money than they are with their current lender. Would you be willing to talk to them about Keller Mortgage? I can send them the link and they can get approved. A lot of times the buyer wants the deal to work just as much as the seller wants the deal to work, but they're both at an impasse. They will not get past this, whatever, $2,000 credit, $3,000, whatever it might be. Keller Mortgage can help them save a lot of that money, okay? Keller Covered, a great way to save money on home insurance. Guys, as a side note, if you haven't done it, I would check it out. You can actually use it as a Keller Williams agent to shop your insurance and save money there. We actually save money on our home insurance going through Keller Covered as well. Next, you can see the public description of the property. If I click on read more, you can see there is the description that has been pulled from the actual MLS. Doria, I got a question for you. Looking at this screen right here in the center, can you tell me who's the listing agent?
It has a company. I don't see a name.
Doria, I know this would never happen to you. And if it did, have you ever worked with someone who you just worked really, really hard, you finally converted them as a buyer, they're in your car, you're showing them properties, they find them one, and you get ghosted? What happens?
They have gone to the listing agent.
Right around you. They just circumvented the heck out of you and went directly to the listing agent. Guys, there are apps that your consumers are using that will quickly and easily provide your consumer with the listing agent's information. Some of those apps that they're using actually have a series of agents, and some of them are the premier agent, and it's not you, and your consumers are easily accessing that information. Here's the great thing about the KW Consumer app. And this isn't a selling point necessarily for the consumer, but it should be for you as an agent. The listing agent information is not listed. If they have a question about this particular property, they're going to have to either A, click on Ask Your Agent, which is the ideal situation, or B, they're going to have to go to Zillow or HAR or somewhere else to find the listing agent information. It adds friction, which typically most agents are going to be like, most consumers are like, well, all right, I'll just ask my agent instead. So, and honestly, if they go to the extra trouble of finding the listing agent after using your app, that might not be someone you want to work with anyways. You'll have to decide there, all right? So a selling point for you to make sure you're getting your agents on this app is they cannot easily find the information about the listing agent. Home details, also being pulled from the MLS, so you can see the information there. Again, we talked about neighborhoods, so here's River Oaks West. I can explore this neighborhood just like I did. I showed you earlier with Cinco Ranch Greenway Village. Here's all that information, right? So you have River Oaks Elementary, Lanier Middle, Lamar High School, the private schools that are nearby. You can see all of those. And then obviously we get into places. You can see a lot of restaurants around this area. There's even a central market there on Westheimer. They can actually come down and see all of the reviews for the restaurants. And then you can see other homes that are for sale within that same neighborhood as well. If I minimize the neighborhood, I can continue to scroll down and get a basic market snapshot of the neighborhood, what locals say, how walkable the neighborhood is, and that's sourced by Live By, which basically determines, okay, well, what are the walking patterns like? What are the traffic patterns like? What's the proximity to key ingredients like a grocery store, churches, parks, things like that. Commute time. So I'm going to show you how to add one within the listing itself. And then I'm going to show you how you can remove the other two here. Obviously, I worked with the Katy office yesterday. They put in La Centera and then the address to their office. Let's say I wanted to buy this listing and I wanted to know how far it would take me to drive to your office. Dory, what's the address for the market center there?
I'm sorry. Somebody walked in my office. 2409 Commerce.
2409 Commerce. You tell that person that walked in, why are they not on this live stream, right?
Well, we're in an office building that other people occupy as well. So.
Oh, fair enough. So I just added 2409 Commerce Street as one of my places. So you can now see it's going to be a 16-minute drive from this listing to the office. If I'm a nut, I really like to bike around, right? I ride a bike that goes nowhere. I'm a Peloton guy, right? So I can't really identify with you if you're that person. And you can see it's a 36-minute bike ride. And if for any reason, whatever, the car's in the shop and it's a pretty day, I want to walk there, well, you open it down because it's going to take you 2 hours and 12 minutes to actually bike there, or excuse me, walk there. But it's a cool way to kind of see, right? You always want to know, well, how far is it from work? How far is it from the kid's school? Maybe how far is it from a family member's house? Like how close am I to my mom or my dad or whatever, her family? There's different things that you could put in here as far as locations. Each consumer can save up to 3 places is what they're called. And I'll show you where you can change these and add these within the actual More menu. Next, we've got the school information. You can see upcoming open houses for this listing. And it does have a mortgage calculator. I'd be real careful, just as a heads up about this mortgage calculator though. It does not bring in taxes, which can be a huge difference, right? So just if you're working with consumers, maybe better to be used on a lender site. Keller Mortgage, Keller covered again, activities for this home, and then you can see other nearby homes as well to that actual listing. At the very bottom are just basic my marketing and then legal stuff from KWRI just to make sure we're all doing well. So that's an actual listing and how we can search for a specific listing, put in filters, actually draw, save the search, or save the property as a favorite as well. Now, how many of you, if you look at the bottom of your screen on your webinar, you can raise the hand, right? Tell me, how many of you are like me? You're walking, you're biking, you're driving, whatever, and you go past a for sale sign in a yard. And the first thing you think is, I wonder how much it is, right? Not even a house you're interested in. It's too big, too small, it's not cute, it's in a different area. No, I'm not even into it, but how much is it? How often have you thought, man, I'd really like to know what that house is going for? Well, here's the cool thing, guys. Anywhere in the US or Canada, so this just isn't in Houston, but say you're traveling, right? And you just want to, go buy a house that's for sale in your parents' neighborhood or your best friend's neighborhood, and they live somewhere else. Anywhere you are in the US or Canada, if you want to know what a house would go for, right, or houses are being sold for around you, you can click on that arrow in the top right-hand corner. You'll see it's cockeyed slightly to the left. It's based upon the GPS in your phone. So you can see if I click on that arrow, that takes me immediately back to Katie, where I'm sitting right now, and starts to tell me the pricing of homes that are around me. So if I just walk by, drove by, or bike by, how often do you have it where like, I don't even know what street we're on. How do I look up this property? I'd really like to know what that one's for sale for, right? So it's an opportunity for them to then use the consumer app to find out what our property is selling for, what's this particular property that I'm standing in front of, what is this one listed as? So that's just one more cool way. The last thing is, how many of you have gone on a listing appointment or a buyer's showing and you say, wish I would have known it back to that, for good or bad, right? It backs to an amazing, I don't know, forest or something, national forest, and so therefore they're never gonna have rear neighbors, or it backs to a car wash or a commercial property. Here's the cool thing that we can do on our apps as well. It's happened to me once on a listing appointment. Every single listing appointment after that, I used Google Earth to actually research the property so it never got caught off guard. I went to list the house that had the car wash behind it, and I had a CMA prepared for them, and it went out the window because I'm like, guys, you backed to a car wash. Like, you might have told me that when we were having a phone conversation. So now I actually ask, is there anything that would cause your property to sell for less than your neighbors, such as, interesting rear neighbors, etc. So Google Earth, because again, our app, partnership with Google, here's the cool part. Click on the More button in the top right-hand corner, just below that arrow that I just showed you how to use. We've spent some time in the listing filter. I want you to click on the Map tab. So see at the very top, there's another tab that says Map. You can see it says Default or Satellite. Click on Satellite and then click on Done. Now all of a sudden your view has transitioned to a Google Earth style view where it's actually showing you the satellite view. So we could go back to that saved search that I had, and now it's actually pulling up the satellite view of that saved search. So if I wanted to know more about that property, right, we were looking at the one that was $975. okay, cool. Well, I can zoom in on it. Well, and it does look like, ironically enough, it's located across from, those look like maybe apartments or townhomes. This looks like it might be actual commercial buildings, not really sure what those are, but you can see we can get a better understanding of where the property is located using, oops, sorry, fat fingered that one, using the actual Google Earth or satellite view. So again, that's when you're searching, you would click on more and then map and then satellite and then click on done, and it's going to show you kind of that aerial view of what's happening around. So what do the neighborhoods look like? What do the neighbors look like? Does it, right? And then a pool, I mean, you could put a pool in since the last time the satellite passed, but typically the pools take quite a while to be built out, obviously. So it's just another great tool that you can use as an agent, but you can also train your consumer to use as well. And this is something that is built into our app that I don't think is built into any other app as well, right? Actually being able to see that Google Earth style view. So pretty cool add-on to the app as well. Let's talk about search. We spent a lot of time searching in the different varieties. So we talked searching for landmarks, searching by neighborhoods. Oh, we can actually search by school district. What's the school district there, Dory?
Houston Independent School District.
Okay, so I'm going to put in Houston. All right, so if I wanted to know the actual boundaries, I could put in Houston Independent. You can see as I start to type it out, it gives me the school district, and I can click on it and then see the actual boundaries of the Houston Independent School District. Now, maybe you're searching and somebody's right on the edge and they say, hey, we would actually like to be in, let's just use Katy, right? Katy Independent. Right, and then you can see, okay, well, there are the boundaries for the Katy Independent School District. So if you had someone in the energy corridor and they were right on that line and they said, hey, we just want to make sure we're zoned to Katy, you could then see the boundaries and know where does one district start and where does the other one end. You can do a search for a particular school. Okay, so I can do, now this is going back to landmark though. It's not going to give you the boundaries per se, and it will at least pull up the location of the school. All right, so there's Memorial High School. So if I wanted to see homes that were located within maybe a decent walking or bike distance, I could actually search for, now again, it's not pulling the actual zoning for the individual elementary, middle, or high, and you can search for them and actually zoom in the map at least and see kind of where it is and how close are these homes. Now remember, anytime you click on a listing, it'll tell you what schools they're being zoned to, okay? All right, so that's detailed on search. Any questions so far on the search aspect or search features included satellite, landmarks, schools, school district, standard filters as well? All right, got no questions there. Let's move on. So I told you I would show you how to add places. So let's click on the More button in the bottom right-hand corner. And then under the second option, you'll see My Account. So I want to click on My Account, and then you'll see the third option is where they can change their places. So if they click on Places, you can only hard code 3, but you can change them at any point. Okay, so I could say, hey, I don't care about La Centera because I'm in the Memorial area, and I don't care about your office because I'm not going there anymore, but I might want to add another place. And then it could be, I'm trying to think of some fun wine bars that have been down there. It's been a long time since I've been out of the restaurant business, but whatever. I could put in any location that I wanted. It could be as simple as, I don't know, maybe it's Whole Foods, right? So I've got to be near a Whole Foods. I can actually type in Whole Foods, and then you'll see it's going to give me all of the Whole Foods listed kind of in that area. It might be something as similar as just actually putting in an address, right? Where do my parents live? I want to know how close I am to their actual address. I could put in the specific address as a place as well. So a lot of cool options in your places. When they put those 3 places in, again, remember, any listing that they are then looking at in the future, it'll tell them how far of a drive, a bike, or a walk it is from those 3 locations. I've worked with buyers before that had an elderly mother, said our mom doesn't drive. She just doesn't drive anymore. And so we need to be within walking distance of a Catholic church, and we need to be within a decent walking distance of some sort of grocery store. And I was like, that is a unique search criteria that I cannot use HAR for, However, if I had the consumer app at that point, I could have put in, right, locations for, okay, what neighborhoods, areas are you looking at? Okay, that means, okay, the most closest Catholic church would be this one. Would that be okay? Yeah, cool. And the grocery store is gonna be this one. So you need to look for listings in this area. And each one you click on, it'll tell you how far mom would have to walk to church and to the grocery store. So just some examples of how you can work with your consumer with places in the consumer app. You can see that the consumer can actually share their app with someone else as well. So if they click on the share the KW app button, the fourth one down, it's actually going to either send an email, a message, a text, and you can see what the text looks like. Now, could you share your app from within the app as a consumer? Yes, you just want to make sure you change the wording of the text, because this sounds weird. If I were to send this text to Dory, Dory knows I'm an agent, and I'm saying, hey, I used the KW app to search for homes with my realtor, Marty Miller. Wait, you are Marty Miller. Why are you sending me this text? So I could just come in and change the actual body of the text and say something like, hey, Dory, comma, use the KW app to search for homes. And then I could just bring all that out. And I could just say with me, and then download it now for a personalized experience, right? So I could change that text pretty easily, and I could send that out from the app. Now I'm going to show you how you can send out your app link in a variety of other ways here in a few minutes. If you wanted to share it from within the app, that's how you would do it. You can see additionally, you've got Keller Mortgage, Keller Covered, Legal, and then the ability to sign out as well. Feed in the bottom left-hand corner, the second version over. Right, so you can see that you do have 3 options there, okay? Saved searches, collections, guide, and then all. So anytime that there is an update to your timeline guide, okay, we're gonna talk about that in just a second, that will show up. Right now, saved searches, I believe with the app release that's coming soon, you can set up saved searches for them right now, but they're only showing up on your agent site. When somebody registers on your agent site, you can build out saved searches for them, and they can then see them on the agent site. Right now, it is not corresponding with the app, but that's where you would see it, and it's being built out for the future. So you can see it's actually already there for you. The thing that I want to talk to you most about next is guide. So if you click on guide in the middle there, you get 2 tabs. You've got a buying guide and a selling guide. Buying guide and selling guide. Dory, let me ask you a question. There's 2 guides here. It's a buying guide and it's a selling guide. We established earlier that this was a consumer app. So the consumer is looking at these 2 guides and they're assuming that this is the process of buying with who?
The buying, what do you mean? It was for buyers.
Yep.
Is that what you're asking?
Who wrote this, Dory?
Who wrote this?
The consumer thinks, who wrote this?
The agent wrote it.
So if I'm your consumer, I assume you wrote this guide for me.
Correct.
To understand the buying process and the selling process, right? So here's the deal. A lot of agents don't even realize this guide exists, number 1. Number 2, that it is setting expectations for your consumer on your behalf. Inadvertently, purposefully, whatever it may be. So here's another homework item, guys. I want you to spend time in this guide. You need to be going through the buying guide and the selling guide and making sure that you understand what these steps are, and click on each one. You'll see that you get more information on each step as you dive into it further. Now, let me ask you this, show of hands. How many of you agree that the listing process is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 simple steps?
Of course not.
It is definitely more than 5 simple steps, okay? So you can see, right, you can click on this guide. Here's the showing your home. And you can see there's a lot of information included in this actual step, because we already have to fight really hard for our commission anyway. So my advice is, in just a second, we're going to take off our consumer hat. We're going to put our agent hat on. Spend time in these 2 guides. Spend time in each step, and you should be taking notes, okay? As I read through this step, do I do all of the things that are included in this step? If I don't, what do I want to remove? And are there any things that I do that are not written out in this step? Make note of that, because you have the ability to customize these guides for your consumer. In addition, I would consider adding steps, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. For example, showing your home. I think before we even get to the showing, we've got several steps even before that. Staging your home, right? So let's talk about it. Do they get to meet with a professional stager or designer if they work with me? Do I provide that appointment? Do I have some basic staging tips that they can follow, right? Have your driveway pressure washed. We need to get, landscaping done. We need to get fresh mulch. We need to have fresh paint. We need to, make sure that any evidence of the dogs and the cats are gone. Any of those types of staging tips that you might have. Next, we've got to prepare the actual property for photography and videography, right? My photographer always wanted all the cars out of the driveway. All the blinds were facing up, so the sun was hitting the ceilings, made the room look bigger. Had to make sure every single light bulb was the same light bulb, in chandeliers especially, because his camera could pick up the difference in the wattage or the type of bulb being used. Obviously, making sure every bulb actually works. All the ceiling fans are turned off. You guys get it. You understand, right? If you're using things like Matterport, or you're using a drone to take aerial video or aerial shots, like, are all your, I don't know, if you've got a pool and you've got furniture out there, are all the cushions on the actual furniture? Have they been blown around the yard and you didn't realize it? So that could be another step, preparing your home for photography and videography. Then there's preparing your home for the MLS. It's a matter of, I've gotten back all the photos. I'm working on descriptions for the photo. I'll then create a 1,000-character public description of the property. Then I'll have links to, the virtual tour, to the aerial photos, etc. Right? These are all things that you're doing, and you want the consumer to know these are all the things I'm doing. So I'm going to build out steps for each one of these. Here's the cool part in just a second as well. I'm going to show you how you can walk the consumer through these steps. And as you complete each one, you can actually check them off from within Command, and the consumer will see a little check mark next to each step. Right now, you can see there's little white dots on the screen next to these steps in that far left-hand column. When you complete the steps within the guide, they'll start seeing check marks show up, and on their guide, they'll know, okay, cool, Marty did this, Marty did that. The reality is this is a really powerful tool when you're on a buyer consultation or a listing consultation, because the reality is you're going to tell that buyer or seller, working with me through a real estate transaction, it's going to be a long transaction, right? It's a long process. We don't buy a house in 2 weeks. I mean, they might be able to, but typically not. We don't sell a house in 2 weeks either. And so at any point when you're working with me, Mr. Buyer, Mrs. Seller, you'll always know exactly what we've done, what we're doing, and what's next. And you'll have that access in the palm of your hand with the same consumer app that you're using to do all the other things that I've talked to you about: creating collections, neighborhoods, searching for property, etc. So all you'll have to do, if you ever wake up at 2 in the morning and kind of stressed about the sales process, saying, what is Marty doing and what's next? You can merely look at your app and you can see all the steps in our buying or selling process, which ones we've completed, which one we're on, and which one we complete soon, okay? So that's a great way, because again, guys like Compass Agent, that Remax Agent, that Sotheby's Agent, they don't have an app like this. They're not marking off steps within the consumer app. So when you're competing for the business, I would recommend part of your listing or buying consultation presentation is talk about the app and use it as a tool to help kind of sell you as the agent and the tech that you have that other agents do not have. All right, so at this point, we're actually going to transition. So you guys have had a consumer hat on the entire time, and I definitely appreciate that. Now we're going to transition into putting on your agent hat. We're going to get into Command. So I'm going to stop this share, and then I'm going to go in and actually share my Command with you guys, and we'll walk through this process. So first thing we talked about was guides, okay? Guides, how do we set up the guides? So you're going to come into Command, you're going to come down to the consumer applet, and you'll click on consumer. And from there, you'll see 3 tabs along the top. I've got landing pages, agent site pages, and guide builder. I'm going to go ahead and click on guide builder. To start right now, there is one default buying guide. There's one default selling guide. You have the ability to edit the buying guide and the selling guide. In the future, you'll have the ability to create additional buying guides or selling guides. So for example, the first-time home buyer, the luxury home buyer, the farm and ranch home buyer, the raw property home buyer, the investor or foreclosure home buyer. So you could just think about that's just 5 or 6 guides right there that you can build out. You can do the same for sellers as well. And yet right now, if you want to edit, which I would recommend, 1, that you know them, and 2, that you put your stamp on it as far as your edits, you can come in and click on the pencil. So for example, here's the seller's guide. You can see the 5 steps that are included. If I click on any one of the guide steps, I have the ability to change the title. I have the ability to change the subtitle. It's kind of like the teaser text, if you will. And then as I scroll down, I have the ability to change the workspace details here. Okay, so if I was looking through this step and there's some things that I want to remove from this step to add to another one, then I would just kind of highlight whatever it is, delete that out, and then go through and kind of save each one of the changes as I make them. To add additional steps, you're going to scroll down to the bottom and just click on Add a Step. This one could be staging your home. Here are the things to do to stage your home, right? Whatever, you put a much better subtitle there. I could click on, find an image that I wanted to use. Just make sure you're using something like Shutterstock or a place where you're getting royalty-free, copyright-free images. And then it's saying that an image is required. So I'll just pull something, let's see. I've got some saved ones on here that I just used for different things. So let's just say it's this one. Okay, so there's my photo. I would click on continue, and now I have a new step built, right? So you can see, now I can already tell this is a photo I probably wouldn't want to use that much because it cuts off the top. But if I wanted to move staging your home to the very top, I would just drag it up. So you can see now it's going to be the first one. And then when I click on it, I can come down and start typing in the workspace text that is included with this step. If I decided, that's not what I want to call it, I want to get rid of that step, I can just click on the trash can to actually remove it. Once I'm done building out the guide, I would click on Save Changes, and then I can come back in, I can do the same thing for the buying guide, right? If you don't want to go through the process of making the changes, at least, guys, please, at minimum, go read the steps. Because I would hate for you to sit down at the closing table and the buyer or seller are frustrated with you because you introduced the app to them. Maybe you didn't even talk about the guide, but you just said, hey, I've got a cool app. Well, they got in there, they started playing with the guide, and then they realized, you know what, Dory, we're really frustrated because you told us you were going to do this, you were going to do that, this is how this was going to go, this is how that was going to go, and none of that came true. And Dory's like, whoa, Kimosabi, I didn't say any of that. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, hold up. Why are you frustrated? I didn't say we were going to do open houses every weekend. It doesn't say that, by the way. And yet, right, some sort of example there. And they say, well, yes, you told me. It actually says in the guide of the app that you built for me that you would do all these things. And you didn't do all these things, Dory. And Dory's like, uh-oh, right? So spend some time going through the guide so that you understand what expectations you're building out for the actual agent or the consumer, excuse me. All right, so shifting gears, how do we get this app into the hands of our customers, our consumers, our clients? 3 basic ways, and we're going to walk through those right now. When I'm in the consumer applet, okay, the consumer button down here, this is what I clicked on, right? This is how I got to this section. Any one of these 3 tabs, it doesn't really matter which one I'm on, you're going to see there's a button that says Site and App Settings. So you want to click on Site and App Settings. And right now there are 4 tabs underneath the Site and App Settings. Teaser alert, we're going to get a 5th tab soon, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. But you're going to come into URLs. Okay, click on URLs. And down here at the bottom, this is your actual app link. If you wanted to send a direct message to somebody from your computer, an email, a Facebook message, if you're texting from your computer, texting from Twilio, whatever it may be, this is the link you would want to send them. When they get this link and they follow it, they're actually going to download a version that is branded to you. So they won't have to go through that whole search for an agent. They're branding, the app they download will already be branded to you. As far as this app text code, ignore it. Unfortunately, they've had some major inconsistencies with its functionality, and so they're actually removing the ability to use an app text code. So just remove that. Not many people were doing it anyway, and the ones that were struggling with their success ratios. So we're going to just stick with the app URL. So option number 1 is I'm just going to get the manual link, and I'm going to send it out to people that I know. Okay, that's option number 1. Option number 2 is to leverage the power of command through smart plans. Smart plans are here. They're the 4th icon down. So I can click on smart plans. If you've never been into smart plans, it's actually going to say something to the effect of you have no smart plans. That's okay. That's your library. You have the ability to bring in custom-made smart plans already made on your behalf from KWRI from the main library. So I can click on library here. You're going to see 10 smart plans with varying degrees, varying steps, and varying methods have already been built out for you. Okay, the one that we're talking about today is the Promote My App Smart Plan. So you can actually see if you want on any of these 10, but specifically with Promote My App, we'll click on View Steps. And you can see that it's going to send out an email right off the bat. Then it's going to wait 1 day. And then it's going to either give you an alert to send this text, or if you have connected Twilio within your KW Command platform, it'll actually send the text on your behalf. Twilio can be found in the settings menu here. You can go into settings. You can register for a Twilio account. It is not free. It's $20 to start and then $10 each time you drop underneath the $10 mark. They bill you back to $20. However, the texts that are being fired out are less than a penny per text. So it's literally 0.0075 cents is how much it costs, right? So 7/10 of 1 penny each time Twilio sends a text for you. So I highly recommend Twilio. I think it's an amazing tool. There's a couple things. Know that it's coming from your business text line. It's not your personal cell phone. I always sent, when I first started people on Twilio, I would let them know, hey, I've invested in a piece of technology called Twilio. It's a business text line. It allows me to keep all of your texts regarding your real estate transactions, 1, secure, and 2, private, and they don't get mixed in with all of my personal texts like, hey babe, will you bring home bread, eggs, and milk from the grocery store, right? My wife's grocery list. It is a phone number that you can text anytime. All those texts are secure. Just know that if you ever do need to call me, please call me on my personal cell phone number. Again, here's that number. Because if they do attempt to call you from a Twilio number, it won't come through. So that's how I always explained Twilio to my consumers, so they knew that when they were getting texts from this other number, they would know what that number was for. It does hard code you to a 512 area code, but you can go to Twilio, the company's out of Austin. You can go to Twilio support and for $1 a month, purchase a local area code. So the text is then coming from your local number. But I can see the steps. So it sends an email. It waits a day. Again, if I have Twilio connected, it will automatically fire this text for me. And then it'll wait 3 days and then automatically fire this text for me. So if you're interested in adding this plan to your library, you would just click on Add Smart Plan. And then when you come back to the My Smart Plans tab, you'll see it's now in your library. The cool thing is that this plan can actually be somewhat edited as well. So if you click on the pencil for my Promote My App Smart Plan, you'll see you can actually change the wording of those 2 texts. So if those texts aren't exactly the way that you speak or how you would want to convey information, you can come in here and actually change the verbiage of the text themselves. I've actually already done that. So you can see mine might look a little bit different than yours. But you can actually use what are called merge fields over here on the right-hand side. And it's going to pull pieces of information from the specific contact record that's on this text into the text itself. So you can see the examples here: contact first, last, email, phone, birthday, anniversary, agent first, last, team name, and then your link. This would actually say, hey, Dory, hey, Monica, right? Hey, depending on who's getting this text, it would actually customize to their first name. And they would say this is, in this case, it just would say Marty Miller. I could type in Marty Miller just as easily. I was just showing how merge fields were used. With KW, did you see that a neighbor listed a home in your area? Download my brand new KW app to check it out. You can change whatever you want this text to read. Same thing with this one. When you make those changes, you would just come up to save, and then now you have edited that app. Okay, so the first method of sending out your app to people is 1, manually. 2, utilize a smart plan, the Promote My App Smart Plan. The third option is via your Facebook business pages or your Twitter accounts. So I can come into campaigns, the campaign applet, which is the megaphone. As long as I have come into the settings menu and connected my Facebook accounts in 2 places and my Twitter account in 2 places. So you'll see here's Facebook post scheduling, Twitter post scheduling, and I would just click on connect account if I had not already. And then I also want to come in and make sure that Twitter Ads Manager and Facebook Ads Manager have been connected as well. Once I've done that, I have the ability to start running ads, which is a different class. We won't get to that right now. And yet I can also do social posts. So these are free, right? It's not going to cost me any money to do these social posts. As soon as I click on social posts, it gives me an idea of what's happening this week. You can see there's a Facebook icon and a Twitter icon anytime I post to one of those 2 channels. So for this week, I posted on Monday. This post went out at 9:30 this morning. On Friday at 9 a.m., I'll have 2 more posts going out as well, one to Facebook, one to Twitter. You can see I've taught this class a few times, so there are several other examples of text or posts that are going out, not text, but posts that are going out on my Facebook business page and on my Twitter page. Some of you may say, hey, I'm not really talented as far as that goes, or hey, I've got somebody that does that for me, whatever it may be. Here's the cool thing, guys. It's a very simple, easy process to have a very professionally done post put out on your Facebook page or your Twitter account. All I have to do is scroll down, and on the right-hand side here, you're going to see there are some suggested social posts. Here are 2 posts that have already been created on my behalf. So if I want to use one of these, all I have to do is click on the arrow. And it has, here's already a professionally designed text. If I don't like what this says, I can type my own. I can also click on shuffle, and it'll give me another version of that same post. And again, I can change what either one of those say. I've already got the professionally designed marketing piece. My VBA should have already been uploaded, will be automatically included. And then I can come in and say, okay, do I want to schedule this or publish it right now? I saw that I didn't have something going out on next Friday, so I can click on the 15th. I like my post to go out at 9 a.m., so I can scroll down just a little bit further. There's 9 a.m. And I'd like that to go out on my business page and my Twitter account. And I can click on schedule post. It's going to say this is what it'll look like on Facebook. This is what it'll look like on Twitter. And as long as I like it, I can click on schedule posts. And that quick and easy, I just created, designed, edited, and published a very professional looking graphic that's going to go out on my business page, right? In this case, it's going to be next Friday. And you can see here it is. I've got one going out on Wednesday. I've got one going out on Monday. Mondays may look a little weird. You're like, why would you just post a black photo? This is actually a video. If you are in the social post category here, you'll see there are 2, but there's also this shuffle button. If I click on shuffle, you'll see it's going to start going through a variety of different home pictures and different images, right? Different text. And I can just click on shuffle until, sometimes it takes twice and sometimes it takes 10 times until I get to this black screen, right? This is actually the consumer app video that was played at family reunion. So if I click on the play sign, you can see there is a professionally designed, professionally created marketing video touting your consumer app. And all I have to do, again, is click on the arrow. And let's just say, what's today, Wednesday? I don't have anything going out tomorrow. Here's some professional text. Here's the actual video. I can choose to publish it right now to my business page or Twitter account, or I can schedule it. And in this case, like I said, I don't have anything going out tomorrow. So there's Thursday. I'd like that one to go out at 9 a.m. And I want it to go out on Facebook and Twitter. Schedule that post. This is the preview. Is that what you want? Yep. Now I'm good to go. I have that now scheduled to go out on. So I've got one, it's actually going out back to back. So Wednesday and then Thursday. Now, if for some reason I say, hey, I don't want that to actually go out back to back like that, I can click on these 3 little dots and then I can delete that post. And it'll say, are you sure? And then I can delete that one. And now I've only got the ones going out on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Guys, my homework for you is to go book 20 minutes a week, right? That is such a little amount of time, 20 minutes per week. come in, you can see that I just scheduled 2 posts. A third one wouldn't take that much more. A fourth one wouldn't take that much more. But go through and connect your Twitter account and your Facebook business page or pages to your command account. And then come in here and just spend the time to do it. You can see I spent time on all these classes, but if you spent 30 minutes, you could probably book out your entire month. And then you only have to worry about doing social media posts when something else comes up. But you'll know that your app posts are going out at least 3 times a week. You've got a new listing, you've got an open house, you're going to do something different. You can still post those things. And yet if you forget, which sometimes we all do when we get busy, at least in the back of your mind, you know that you have consistent content going out on your business pages. Guys, when we go on a business consult for a buyer or a listing, if you don't think they're looking you up on Facebook, you're kidding yourself, right? And if they look at a Facebook business page that you have that looks really nice, but you haven't posted anything on it in 6 months, I don't know if that's our agent, right? So this is a quick and easy way to have professional posts, professional video, right? They're going to think you created that video. And now it's going out and they can see, oh, wow, okay, that's pretty cool stuff. So that's the third method of getting the app out into people's hands. 1, manually. 2, use the smart plan. 3, use your social posts. Now, when somebody has your app, we talked about walking them through the guide. Okay, that can only be done once you have created an opportunity for a contact that has your guide. So that would obviously be either they're going to be buying with me or they're going to be selling with me. So here's just an example. I use this just for teaching purposes, but my friend Elena, right, downloaded my app and I said, hey, can I use you as an example? She said, sure. So if I click on her opportunity, you can see that under that opportunity, there are several tabs that you may or may not have seen before. Seller profile is the tab where I can walk them through the guide. So if I click on seller profile, you can see that, yes, Elena has registered with my platform, meaning that she is registered and she has my app. She's using my app. Next, I can click on manage guide and I have the ability to walk through those steps. So if I had created additional steps in my guide, I would see all of the steps here, right? And I could come in and say, all right, if it starts off like this, hey, we're done showing your home, we're actually getting offers in now. So I could check that off and then save changes. What would happen is Elena would then get that check mark, right? Remember that little white dot on her guide, it would be checked off. Also within the feed, it would show that we have created or we have completed a guideline step within her feed as well. When contacts are using your app, you're also going to start getting information about what they're doing. So I can actually go into Elena's contact record and show you, I had her search for some actual properties here and she's continuing to search. She lives in Austin. Every now and then I see that she's looked at a few more. So I can see anytime she has viewed a listing. So this was last week and she was looking at some property there in Austin. And so I can click on any one of them and I can actually get more information about the actual property, right? So if she calls me about, hey, there was this property I was looking at on Robert Martinez Street, I already have a heads up that she looked at it and I can be a little bit more familiar with that actual property. Right now, as of today, all I can see is that she has viewed listings and I can see the guide steps. However, here's the cool thing. We're getting some updates any day now, guys. It is coming really soon. And here are the different things that are going to be able to be seen. So you're actually going to be able to start seeing when they are searching, what criteria they searched by, okay, within their contact record. You're going to see when they have registered. You're going to see, remember how we looked at some of the neighborhoods, we dove into those neighborhoods, whether we were in the listing or just searching by neighborhood. You'll be able to see the same thing if they're viewing by neighborhood. If they are creating or editing collections, you're going to be able to see them doing that. Obviously, I showed you how you could view the listing and how the guide builder steps are completed. So that's coming with the newest update to the app, which literally should be any day now. In addition, another cool feature that's coming with the app update is that you'll now have the ability to have featured listings. This will be on your app and on your agent site. On the agent site, you'll see there's the search box that's there when you go to your agent site. Just below that, you're going to start to have a carousel of up to 12 listings that you want to feature on your site. Now, a couple of notes. If you don't have any listings to feature, that's okay. It's not going to say featured listings and then none found or something. As I understand, it's only if you toggle this on and choose the listings that it'll show up. 2, it doesn't automatically update. So make sure that if you're going to feature listings today, you make a note to maybe come back once a week and check on them. If they have gone under contract or sold and you no longer want to feature them, then you would need to manually remove them and add a new listing to that featured section. Also on the app, instead of being a carousel, it's going to be a collection. So they'll actually have a default favorites collection, and then the new collection will be something along the lines of featured listings as well. Lastly, the app, pretty soon here, you're going to have the ability to schedule a tour. So the consumer can request a tour from within the app. And this is actually live on agent sites right now, and I'll show you that in just a second. But from within the app, when they are looking at a property, at the bottom, we saw that big Ask Agent button. You can now see there's an additional button that will say Schedule Tour. So they can click on Schedule Tour. It's going to ask them which dates are you interested in, and then which times of day, morning, afternoon, or evening, work for you on each one of those. And then they can find out, hey, am I requesting an in-person tour or an actual live video tour? And they can request that you go live video the property, right? They're not going to join you, but they want to see it via Zoom, FaceTime, Google Hangouts, Messenger, Google Duo, etc. Guys, this is really important right now during COVID, and I can see this being a huge future for you to talk about if you're dealing with reload clients, right? How often are you working with buyers that are relocating from a different area? They can't come in every weekend and look at homes in the area, but they could request that you check out some of those homes, and then they can actually live stream with you, whether that's, again, any one of these features, so that you can walk them through the home. What an additional value add that you now have as a buyer's agent to say, hey, and actually, if you want to, I'll go tour the properties with you just electronically. We can do Zoom or FaceTime, whatever works, and you can request those tours from my app quickly and easily. So that's happening here very, very soon. In Command, this is what it would look like. So in the contact record, you'll actually get a request. You'll be able to view the request, and here's what the information will actually look like from the consumer. If you guys are on your actual agent sites, you can actually see that this is live now. So as long as the consumer has logged in and is then looking for a property, right? So no, that's Memorial. I want to do, let's just do it. Why is it not taking me over there? There we go. All right, so I could be looking in River. Oh, this is not Texas, is it? That's pulling me to Dallas. Well, let's just do Cinco. I'll let them figure out why that's not going on. So I could be looking at a property. Here's a property I want to see. Click into that. I can scroll down, and you can now see that there's scheduled video tour. This is on your agent sites ready right now. I can click on schedule video tour, and then I can request what day, what time of day, and I can select more than one of these. So maybe I can see it on Tuesday, but only Tuesday night. And then on Thursday, I'm off work. And so, oops, Wednesday I'm off work, and I can see it any one of these days. So you can only schedule it out a week in advance. They can say, well, which one of these do I want to do? Is it in person? Or if it's live video, then what platform do I prefer? And then they can add a note. When they request this tour, you're going to get an alert from Kelly and an alert in your KW Command account that will say that they have actually requested a tour, and they'll show you the property so you can check on that, and then either call or message them and say, yep, I'm good. Thursday afternoon works best for me. Do you want to use FaceTime or, whatever method that you guys decide on? All right, so that's coming with the new app release. It'll also be available in the app. Right now it is live on agent sites, and yet here in the future, they'll actually be able to request it from within the app. Cool. Guys, that is the KW Consumer app rundown from a consumer's point of view, and I appreciate you thinking as the consumer, and then also from the agent side, what's happening on the agent world as well. So any questions, comments, any feedback, Dory, Monica, I will send you the YouTube link for this class so you can send it out to the rest of the Market Center. But those are you that are here. If you want to throw any questions that you have in the chat there, I'd be happy to answer those. And if not, we'll let you get on to the rest of your amazing day.
Thank you so much for your time today, Marty. I guess we'll wait, like you said, a few more minutes to see if we have any questions.
Sure.
But this has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, you're very welcome. Thanks for being my my volunteer there. No, I was on the spot a couple times, and yet I appreciate you playing along with me.
Yeah, I think I actually lost internet for a second there, but it popped me right back in, so that's good.
I didn't even notice, so that's the good news, right? As long as it's you and not me.
Right, exactly. That's what I was thinking. As long as they can hear him, we're all good.
I'm actually in an investment property that our family's owned, and I had to get it hardwired because we'd used Wi-Fi for the longest time. But now I'm doing 6 to 8 Zooms a day, and it's funny because the cable box that we had to hardwire to was on the other side of the living room, and so I had to go buy a 100-foot Cat5 cable and run through the living room, through the formal dining room. Like, luckily, it's just me. I just come here during the day to use this as my office right now, so it's fine. But yeah, reliable internet has never been more valuable than now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it looks like no questions, so we'll wrap. If you do have any further questions, of course, you know how to get a hold of me. You got an amazing team there. I'm really excited about your launch, and I know that's going really well, and that's super exciting. So I look forward to future trainings with you guys, getting to see that beautiful office in the future, and getting to shake hands and meet the rest of you that I have not yet in the future.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye.